Hi guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. And today I want to talk about winter driving. It might be September, but guess what? It's already snowing up in Wyoming and Colorado, and there's going to be high winds and all that good stuff. So as a new driver, I was really nervous about driving through the winter when it came to driving a big rig, which is why I went to training in the winter time. And some people might go training in the summer thinking that by the time winter hits that they're gonna feel more comfortable in that. That's up to you, but I'm gonna talk about shutting down. A lot of people feel guilty about shutting down, and it's just a necessity of trucking, so stick around. Okay, when you're new, you want to do a good job. You want to impress your fleet manager, your dispatcher, DM, or whatever you call them. And in doing that, you sometimes hesitate to shut down. You think that part of the job is go, 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 you got to get there. And it is, except for when it comes to safety issues. And any good company, and I'm going to say the major companies, the mega carriers that people sometimes vilify and say, oh, they don't care about you. Well, okay, but all companies care about their money. All companies care about profit. And if their money and their profit concern is gonna make sure that I'm safe and I'm not dead, then hey, I'm all for it. Okay, so when it comes to shutting down, when I was new, I was really nervous about shutting down because I thought that it was going to make me look bad as a driver. It took me a long time to realize that part of being a driver is knowing what's safe and knowing when to shut down. And when you roll a truck, the minimum amount that it costs the carrier is $350,000. Because they have to pay for somebody to uprate it and the tow and then the damages to the truck and the way that things have to be replaced on the truck and all that good stuff. And that's if you don't hit anything. You know, when you start hitting other people's property or you, God forbid, hurt somebody or kill somebody, now you're talking millions and millions of dollars. And if you look at a lot of the YouTube compilations, especially when it comes to like I-94 in Michigan, or I-80 in Wyoming, that's some scary stuff. Really scary stuff. But people also forget about wind. Wind can be so bad that I was driving through Amarillo, Texas, and the wind was 75 miles per hour and the billboards were blowing apart. And so it's not even just so much that you need to stay upright. You have to worry about things flying at you and flying into your windshield. So yes, like there are things out here that are crazy that you're gonna see. And the best thing to do is shut it down. Just shut it down. So my first trip to Salt Lake City, I had been out for a month. I had just had my accident in Iowa and I drove to Salt Lake City, and then I was on my way back from Salt Lake City, and I-80 was getting worse and worse and worse. I don't remember exactly where I was. I'm gonna say I was probably in Laramie. I think I was probably in Laramie when I started my day, and I headed out and it was getting bad. Thank God I was already past Elk Mountain. I know I didn't go across Elk Mountain, but I got into a pretty bad snow, and the snow blowing. That's when they talk about snow blowing. No, never saw that in Jersey. You know, and it looked like, if you remember Universal Studios, it looked like Bela Lugosi was just gonna jump up out of the fogginess. That's what it looked like. It looked like that big London fog that you see in Jack the Ripper movies, or like the fog that you see in Dracula movies, and you're like, you gotta be kidding me. But it was blowing snow. I think some people will say it's called lake effect snow, but whatever. It's scary looking and you can't see. And I don't even remember how slow I was going, but there was a guy that was, I know I was probably not going more than 45 miles per hour, but nobody was, except for this one guy that came flying past me. He was a Crete driver, and he went in front of me, and then all of a sudden, he just jackknifed. And he jackknifed and slid right across the median strip, and then went and hit oncoming traffic. And I was like, oh my God. And I was on the phone with my friend telling her how bad this area was. And all of a sudden that happened. So I wound up getting all through that, and I get into Nebraska. And in Nebraska, the wind got really bad. It wasn't snowing anymore, but it was freezing, and the wind was really, really bad. Luckily for me, I was really heavy. I was like 43,000 pounds or something in the box. And this guy in front of me was moving over to the shoulder, so I got in the left lane to give him enough room, and he gets over to the shoulder, and when I got back into the right lane, I saw him in my mirror. He wasn't going into the shoulder. He was being pushed into the shoulder, and then all of a sudden he just turned over on his side. So my guess is that he was empty or really light and shouldn't have been on the road to begin with. And I was going so slow that I felt bad. I felt bad, like I should have been doing more. And I don't remember the exact mileage, but I think I had been driving for like 7 hours and only got a couple hundred miles, and it was just ridiculous. And I messaged my fleet manager, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I really tried, but like this weather is just ridiculous. The wind is blowing people over, and it's pushing people in front of me and up against me. So even though I wasn't being pushed, when people would come past me, or the trucks in front of me would fishtail because of the wind banging on them, I told them, I was like, it's just not, it's not safe for me to drive. And I felt guilty. I felt guilty, and I was afraid it was going to make me look bad. And he messaged me back and said, anytime that you don't hit anything and you get there on time and you let me know of any problems, you did a great job. Your park's safe, so be there, stay there until you know it's safe to go out, and just message me if you have any problems. And I felt like crap, and he was telling me I did a good job. And a couple years later, he told me, he's like, there's a secret that dispatchers don't tell you guys, because technically they're not allowed to tell us like what we could do. We're considered the captain of our ship. So if I say something's okay and safe for me to handle, then it's safe for me to handle. I can go. If if I say it's not safe, then it's not safe. And so he said to me, he's like, there's a secret that we don't talk about, and it's that a lot of times we're watching the trucks, and we know where you're going, and you're this little blip on the screen, and you're following the road. And he says, I know what you're heading into, and I see trucks having accidents up ahead, and I'm just sitting there praying that you're gonna shut down. And he's like, I'm not gonna message you and say shut down, because that's your judgment call. But he told me, he's like, sometimes you're driving and I just wish you would shut down. But he knows that I'm not gonna, now that I have experience, he knows I'm not gonna put myself into a bad situation. And there were a couple blizzards that I drove through going from Maine to Illinois, and I would shut down for a couple hours and then keep going, and shut down for a couple hours and keep going. I talked in another video that I like to do 8-2 splits. I could drive for 5 or 6 hours and get a few hundred miles and then take a break, because the elements will play on you. It'll fatigue you mentally. And so he knows I'm going to shut down now. And it's really important for new drivers to realize that dispatch can see ahead what you're driving into. And you should know what you're driving into too with the weather app. Go on to Weather Channel weather app, download that, because it'll really help you. Wyoming has a DOT website that's really good. Maybe I'll link them down below. That'll probably be another tip video that I'll do. So, you know, when in doubt, shut it down. But also keep in mind, we all have different levels of experience when it comes to winter driving. Being from New Jersey, I drive in snow, I drive in ice. So, and I also got my license when I was 41 years old. I got my CDL when I was 41 years old. So I had already been driving 2 decades before I came to Prime. More than 2 decades. Hey, more than 2 decades, I'm old. But you know, when you put that up against somebody who's 26, who's maybe been driving less than 10 years, and they're from Mississippi where they never drove in snow before, we're gonna have different experience levels and different thresholds of what's safe. And so, you know, dispatchers understand that too. Like if you tell somebody, hey, there's even, like my fleet manager once told me that there was a driver on his fleet that had a jackknife the winter before. So in the next winter, like that was his first winter, in his next winter, he shuts down more often because he's still nervous about that jackknife from before. I mean, and that's the understanding that goes into dealing with your fleet manager. They deal with you, they understand you, they see how you drive, they know your history. It's, you know, they're not going to try to push you into things. So I hope that gives you some encouragement to know that you're not going to be seen as a loser. You're not going to be seen as a bad driver if you're nervous and you shut down. Experienced drivers will shut down. They just, oh well, that's the way it happens. New drivers, you want to prove yourself, but sometimes proving yourself is proving that you know when it's safe and when it isn't. So I hope that helps you, and please like, share, comment below and let me know, you know, if you have some kind of a crazy story about shutting down or winter story or something like that, then put that down below. If you've seen trucks blow over or jackknife, then put that down below, because what I really want to do with this video is to encourage people and make them aware that crap happens out there and you can prevent that by not being on the road at all. Moral of the story, don't be in the road to cause issues. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day. I hope to see you out here trucking along. Bye.